Yes, Prabhuji, please, you can start.
Voice is okay? Hare Krishna. Praveen Prabhu, the voice is okay. Can you confirm?
Prabhuji, it's okay, but can it be a little bit more clear? I don't know. Like, how is it, Prabhuji? Other Srigopal Prabhu, how is it for you?
It is little low, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's not clear, Prabhuji. प्रभुजी सुनाई नहीं दे रहा।
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam.
It's better now, Prabhuji. It's better.
Now the voice is better?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. We'll start with Jai Radha Madhav. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me opportunity for this Sunday Bhagavatam class. We'll start with Jai Radha Madhav. Bhajan by Bhakti Vinod Thakurji. Jai Radha Madhav Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhav Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajjana Randana Yashodanandana Vrajjana Randana Munati Ravana Chari. Yashodanandana Vrajjana Randana Yamunati Ravana Chari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajjana Randana Yashodanandana Vrajjana Randana Jamuna Tiravana Chari. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama. Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Ram Hare. Jai Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jai Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jai Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Maya Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Maya Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Nitai Gaurango Jaya Nitai Gaurango 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा की जय, श्री श्री निताई गौरंग की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So we will recite the common prayers, Prabhuji. Yeah. Sure. Hare Krishna. Can you all see the common prayers?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिता कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टुकी. कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेमपदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः. नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गोब्राह्मणाहिताय च जगदिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. त्वं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते किं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं परमानंद माधव श्री चैतन्य ईश्वर पवित्र पवित्र वासनावस्थान समय पुंडरीकाक्षं नमः. श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So I will welcome you all for this Sunday weekend. I welcome you all for this Sunday weekend Srimad Bhagavatam class. Yesterday, Mahesh Prabhuji has read Canto 3, chapter 28, named as Kapila's instruction on devotional service, till text 18, and he ordered me to continue from text 19. So I will seek blessing from all the Vaishnavas, our Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, and all the assembled Vaishnavas. Please bless me so that we should utilize our time in the best possible way. We should speak from something from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, text number 19. If somebody can share the screen, because here there is some problem in sharing the screen now. So, but I will read from the book 3:28, 19. Hare Krishna. Shri Gopal Prabhuji, can you share?
Prabhuji, I have joined from a mobile, so it's little difficult. I can do it still, but I've joined from a mobile.
But let me try.
Prabhuji, you want me to share the
Yeah,
screen?
if you can, yeah, Praveen Prabhu, if you can share, it's better. Yeah.
1 second, Prabhuji. Just give me 1 second. I have to open my database.
3:28:19.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah. So actually, this text number 19 onwards are described as meditation on the individual limbs of Lord. So Prabhupada very beautifully described in purport and differentiate between uh, personal and impersonal form of Lord. So we'll, as we go through from text number 19 till text number 33 are descriptions of meditation on various limbs of the Lord body. So we'll start from text 19. Sthitam Brajantam Ashinam Shyanam Va Guhya Ashrayam Prekshani Prekshaniyaha Iti Ihitam Dhyayet Shuddha Bhavena Chetasaha. Yeah. Translation. Thus, always merge in devotional service. The yogi visualizes the Lord standing, moving, lying down, or sitting within him. For the pastimes of the Supreme Lord are always beautiful and attractive. So, in purport, Prabhupada very beautifully described that the process of meditation on the forms of Supreme Personality of Godhead within oneself and the process of chanting the glories of pastimes of the Lord are the same. So, if somebody meditate on the form of Lord or somebody chants the name of Lord, they both are same. The only difference is that
Prabhuji,
yeah,
I gave you remote control, so you
yes,
can use your mouse and move my screen. So that
I am trying, but I can't move now.
try Prabhuji, going scrolling up and down.
Yeah, it's not happening. Scrolling. Because my screen is in tablet, maybe that's why.
Yes, Prabhu.
I opened this from tablet. That's why maybe I'm not able to control.
Oh, okay. So tablet, huh? Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Yes, I thought it would be easy for you.
Sorry,
Krishna
not at
Prabhuji,
all.
Dandavad Pranam. Deepa here. If you want, you can make me the host, Prabhuji. I'll log in from the laptop and I can do
Yes,
the screen management.
Mataji, you also have permissions. I think I'll make you co-host.
Okay, Prabhuji.
I'll do it for you. I'll do it. Yeah, login part.
Yeah, I'm logging in.
Hare Krishna. Sorry for troubling everybody.
No problem, Prabhuji. In fact,
Yeah.
for all shlokas also, if you want me to do Ucharan, I can do the shlokas and you can do translation and purport, if that is okay with you.
You can recite shlokas?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can do.
Yes, Mata. This text number 19 you can start.
Yeah. One second. Yes, Prabhuji. SP 3.28.19, right?
Yes.
Is this okay, Prabhuji? Is it
Yes.
visible?
Yes. Perfectly.
स्थितं व्रजन्तम् आसीनं
Sitam Vrajantam Asinam
शयानं वा गुहाशयम्
Yanam Vaguhashayam
प्रेक्षणीये हितं ध्यायेत्
Prekshaniye Hitam Dhyayech
शुद्धभावेन चेतसा.
Buddha Bhavena Chetasa. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, always merged in devotional service, the yogi visualizes the Lord standing, moving, lying down, or sitting within him. For the pastimes of the Supreme Lord are always beautiful and attractive. Yeah, in purport, Srila Prabhupada explained that the process of meditation on the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead within oneself and the process of chanting the glories of pastimes of the Lord are the same. The only difference is that hearing and fixing the mind on the pastimes of Lord is easier than visualizing the form of the Lord within one's heart, because as soon as one begins to think of the Lord, especially in this age, the mind becomes disturbed. Yeah, we have heard in previously also many examples. Many devotees try to meditate on the form of the Lord, and eventually it doesn't last for long. But here we are very fortunate that we are such a Baddha Jiva of this age of Kali Yuga. But Prabhupada has given us such a nice way just by chanting, and we have seen devotees like they are going on chanting for their whole lifetime for more than 40 or 50 years, and they can very easily do this process. So this process is the most easy for Prabhupada saying that although we can do meditation on the form of Lord, out of the 9 process of devotional service, meditation is one of the form, but best process is to chant the name of the Lord. That's what Prabhupada explained in the purport. Yeah. So again, another one more point is Prabhupada has given that uh, that when we do chanting, we are forced to hear. But in meditation, mind will wander here and there. Even we all experience when we do chanting, mind will go here and there. But still, if we struggle just to hear, then actually it's quite easy than as compared to other processes. Yeah. So, and the best way is just about hearing, going on hearing the pastimes of Lord, hearing the Bhagavatam classes. That is also one of the best process which we can do very easily in this word. So we'll start with text 20. Mataji, text 20 you can recite.
तस्मिल्लब्धपदं चित्तं
Tasmillabdha padam chittam
सर्वावयवा संस्थितं
sarvavayava samsitam
विलक्ष्यैकत्र संयुज्यात्
vilakshay katra samyujnad
अङ्गे भगवतो मुनिः.
Ange Bhagavato Munihi. Translation. In fixing his mind on the eternal form of the Lord, the yogis should not take a collective view of all his limbs, but should fix the mind on each individual limb of the Lord. Yeah, this is very important. Here, Prabhupada differentiates between personal form and impersonal form. So, Prabhupada said that uh, he is not mentioned here as yogis normally meditate on full form of Lord, which is actually Prabhupada said that it's impersonal because Lord is also a person and he got different bodily limbs. So as a bhakta, as a devotee, we should try to meditate on individual limb, and in the process of Vaishnava etiquette also we see when we take darshan of Lord in the temple, we should not directly see on the face of the Lord, but we should start taking darshan from the lotus feet of the Lord and gradually goes up and see the different parts of the body of the Lord, and finally we came to see the beautiful smile of the Lord. That's what is the culture of our devotees. That's what is the etiquette of taking darshan of the Lord. So here also in purport, Prabhupada said that we should try to see different parts of the Lord. To think of the Lord as a whole may sometimes be impersonal. Therefore, it is recommended here that first one thinks of his lotus feet, then his ankles, then the thighs, then the waist, then the chest, then the neck, then the face, and so on. One should begin from the lotus feet and gradually rise to the upper limbs of the transcendental body of the Lord. Yes. Text number 21.
सञ्चिन्तयेत् भगवतश्चरणारविन्दम्
चिन्तयेत् भगवतश्चरणारविन्दम्
वज्राङ्कुशध्वज शरोरुहलञ्च नाद्यम्
व्रजान्कुशध्वजो
वज्राङ्कुशध्वज सरोरुहलाञ्छनाद्यम्
व्रजान्कुशध्वजो शरणो लाञ्छनाद्यम्
उत्तुङ्गरक्तविलसन्नखचक्रवाला
उत्तुङ्गरक्तविलसन्नख चक्रवाला
ज्योत्स्नाभिराहतमहद् दृढयान्धकारम्
ज्योत्स्नाभिरहत महदाधारवान्तम्
दृढयान्धकारम्
हृदयान्तकारम्. Yes. There, actually, one second. In text 28. Yeah, this is text number 21. Correct. So it will tell about lotus feet of the Lord. Yeah, this text describes about lotus feet of the Lord. The devotee should first concentrate his mind on the Lord's lotus feet, which are adorned with the marks of the thunderbolt, a gourd, a banner, and a lotus. The splendor of their beautiful ruby nails resemble the orbit of the moon and dispels the thick gloom of one's heart. So here, Prabhupada described very beautifully that Lord's lotus feet, when one meditate, we have seen the picture of lotus feet of the Lord, that it bears different symbols. So devotees can actually meditate on each and every different symbols. And like that, devotees should meditate on the Lord's lotus feet. So Prabhupada explained that Mayavadi said that because one is unable to fix his mind on the impersonal existence of the absolute truth, one can imagine any form he thinks he likes and fix his mind on that imaginary form. So Prabhupada actually refutes this Mayavadi philosophy here that we cannot just meditate on any form. We have to meditate on the form of the Supreme Lord Krishna. But such a process is not recommended here. Imagination is always imagination and results only in further imagination. So this is our process, not imaginary process, but it's a bona fide process where the form of Lord is described, and we should meditate on the form of Lord, which is described as per the Shastra. So a concrete description of the eternal form of Lord is given here. The Lord's soul is depicted with distinctive lines resembling a thunderbolt, flag, lotus flower, and a gourd. The luster of his toenails, which are brilliant, prominent, resembles the light of the moon. If the yogi looks upon the marks of the Lord's soul and on the blazing brilliance of his nails, then he can be freed from the darkness of ignorance in material existence. The liberation is not achieved by mental speculation, but by seeing the light emanating from the lustrous toenails of the Lord. In other words, one has to fix on mind on the lotus feet of the Lord if you want to be freed from the darkness of ignorance in material existence. So this is the process which is recommended, that Prabhupada say that we should not imagine the forms of Lord. And actually, we are very fortunate that Prabhupada has given us so many temples, Prabhupada has given deities, so that we can actually meditate on the form of Lord. And its purpose is that it's not different to go and temple and have a darshan of deities and to see the picture, and it's all are the same. So we should not have to imagine ourselves. We should go to temples, we should see the bona fide deities, and we should take darshan, and we can meditate on them also. That is the perfectly bona fide process. Text number 22.
यशौचनिःसृतसरित् प्रवरोदकेन
यच्छोषनिश्चे सरित् प्रवचोदकेन
तीर्थेन मूर्ध्या अधिकृतेन शिवोऽभूत्
तीर्थेन मूर्धेन अधिकृते शिवा शिवो भूत्
ध्यातुर्मनः शमलशैलनिसृष्टवज्रम्
ध्यातुर्मनः समलशैलनिष्ठिर्वज्रम्
ध्यायेत् चिरं भगवतश्चरणारविन्दम्
ध्यायेत् चिरं भगवतश्चरणारविन्दम्. Yeah. Translation. The blessed Lord Shiva becomes all the more blessed by bearing on his head the holy water of the Ganges, which has its source in the water that washed the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord's feet act like thunderbolt hurled to shatter the mountains of sin stored in the mind of the meditating devotees. One should therefore meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time. Here, it's very beautifully described that anything in connection with Lord is always blissful and beautiful. Lord Shiva, although the greatest of the Vaishnava, is already very much glorified. But here it's this word described that just because Lord Shiva accepted the water of the Ganges, which comes in contact with the touch of the lotus feet of the Lord, and then that water is beared by Lord Shiva on his head, and then which actually increases the glories of Lord Shiva to a greater extent. So here it is understand that Prabhupada explained various things in the purport. First thing is that we should not treat all the demigods and Lord on an equal level. That is an offense, as we read every day in the 10 offenses. To consider the name of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the names of Lord Vishnu. This is the second offense. And also, Prabhupada clearly explained that there is only one Lord which is called Krishna. Ekale Ishvara Krishna or Sabbe Pritya. So another significant point in this verse is mind on this condition soul on account of its association with material energy time contains heap of dirt in the form of desires to lord it over material nature. The dirt, it is our mind. When we try to meditate on Lord and when we chant the name of Lord, the dirt will go away. We know that from example of Shiksha Shivava Cheto Darpan Marjanam. So that is also very important. And by third point which Prabhupada make is there is by his constitutional position, Lord Shiva is always great and auspicious. But since he has accepted on his head the Ganges water which emanate from the lotus feet of the Lord, he has become even more auspicious and important. Thus, Shiva is on the lotus feet of the Lord. A relationship with the lotus feet of the Lord can even enhance the importance of Lord Shiva, but to speak of other ordinary living entities. So this is very important point. Prabhupada mentioned that once we meditate on Lord's lotus feet, all the dirt in our heart will go away, and it will actually increase our glories. So this is very important point. Yeah. Next text number 23.
जानुद्वयं जलजलोचन या जनन्या
ज्ञानोद्वयं जलजलोचनया जनन्या
लक्ष्म्याखिलस्य सुरवन्दितया विधातु
लक्ष्म्याखिलत्सया सुरविन्दिता विलातु
ऊर्वोर्निधाय करपल्लवरोचिषायत्
उर्वोर्निधाय करपल्लव रचिचावयाया
संलालितं हृदि विभोरभवस्य कुर्यात्
संलालितं हृदि विभोर भवस्या कुर्यात्. Translation. The yogi should fix in his heart the activities of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all demigods and is the mother of the Supreme Person, Brahma. She can always be found massaging the legs and thighs of the Transcendental Lord very carefully, serving him in this way. Yeah. This text number 23 actually describes about the knees and calves and the legs of the Lord. So here Prabhupada describes that Lord is fully transcendental, although he got a wife Lakshmi, but that wife should not be considered like an ordinary life which we demigods or the human beings have. So Lord, from the Lord's level sprouts a lotus, and that lotus, Lord Brahma took birth. So this explains that Lord doesn't need another partner to give birth to any person. Lord is Abhigna Swarat. He is self-sufficient. Abhavasya. Abhavasya indicates that he could produce Brahma without the assistance of the goddess of fortune. And so this is very important point, that Lord is body is transcendental and his body is not a material. Although he got a body, but we should not think his body as a material level. It is on a transcendental level. Yeah. So last my Prabhupada is explained that Lord Narayana is not born of anything material. Matter is generated from matter, but he is not born of matter. Brahma is born after the creation, but since the Lord existed before the creation, the Lord has no material body. So Lord body is transcendental, achintya. Yeah. Text number 24.
गुरु सुपर्ण भुजयोरधिशोभमानाः
Guru Suparna Bhujayor Adishobhamana
ओजो निधि अतसिका कुसुमावभासौ
Ojo Nidhi Astika Kusumavabhavso
व्यालं विपीतवरवाससि वर्तमाना
Yalambi Pita Varas Vasati Vartamana
काञ्चीकलापपरिरम्भिनितं बबिम्बम्
Kanchi Kalapapari Bhi Nitamba Bimbam. Translation. Next, the yogi should fix his mind in meditation on the personality of God at thighs, the storehouse of all energy. The Lord's thighs are whitish blue, like the luster of the lynx flower, and appears most graceful when the Lord is carried on the shoulders of Garuda. Also, the yogi should contemplate his rounded hips, which are encircled by the grindle that rests on the uh, exquisite yellow silk cloth that extended down to his ankles. Yeah, so here Prabhupada described nicely that there are 6 types of opulences in the Lord, which we all know that he is all rich, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Yogi is advised to meditate upon the transcendental form of the Lord, beginning from the soles of the feet and then gradually rises to the knees, to the thighs, and finally arriving in their place. This system of meditation of Supreme Personality Godhead begins from his feet. Yeah. So even the Bhagavatam, we know that Bhagavatam is considered like first canto is the feet, and gradually 10th canto will take us to the heart of the Lord. So description of the transcendental form of the Lord is exactly represented in Archa Vigraha. Generally, the lower part of the body of the statue of the Lord is covered with yellow silks. And like this, Prabhupada is saying that we can go to temple and we can just meditate on the Lord in Arch Vigraha form, which we see the deities. And it's also, we should not do some imaginary meditations. That thing we should be, that is called Mayavad meditation. So we should save ourselves from Mayavadis, that Lord is something like energy or just imagination. You can meditate on anything and everything is Krishna. Everything is not Krishna, but Krishna is everywhere. So this is one transcendental Leela, but still we should meditate on the personal form of the Lord, which we can see in the form of deities. Now, text number 25.
नाभिः ह्रदं भुवनकोशगुहोदरस्थम्
Nabhihridam Bhuvana Kosha Guhoradamstam
यत्रात्मयोनिदिशनाखिललोकपद्मम्
Yatratmadoni Dashanakala Lokapatmam
व्यूढं हरिन्मणि वृषस्तनयोरमुष्य
Vyudam Harinmani Vaisya Stanayoramushya
ध्यायेद्वयं विशदहारमयूखगौरम्
Dhyayedvayam Vishada Aramayukushva Goram. Translation. The yogi should then meditate on his moon-like navel in the center of his abdomen. From his navel, which is the foundation of the entire universe, sprang the lotus stem containing all the different planetary systems. The lotus is the residence of Brahma, the first created being. In the same way, the yogi should concentrate his mind on the Lord's nipples, which resemble a pair of most exquisite emeralds and which appear whitish because of the rays of milky white pearl necklace adorning his chest. Yeah. The yogis advise next to meditate on the navel of the Lord. So from now feet we come to thighs and legs, and then we came to the abdomen and navel part of the Lord. So Prabhupada replied that like a child is connected to a mother through an umbilical cord. The first umbilical cord is through Lord Narayan, where the Lord lotus sprouts and is connected through a stem. So from that way, we can consider that that is the first umbilical cord where Lord got give birth to a child called Brahma and is connected to Lord's body navel through an umbilical cord with a stem, and the lotus is connected. So it is, and also we see that. Yeah, Prabhupada explained that Lord's body is achintya. So Lord can use different parts of body to do different activities. So Lord is not limited that with his hand only he can eat like us and with his ears only he can see. He can do anything with any part of the body. So all parts of body of the Lord are capable to do all the activities. And this is the very important principle. Sometimes devotees do not understand that when we do offering and bhoga to Lord, how the Lord eat, because everything is kept there and Lord is not eating. But we should understand that Lord is not eating like us through the mouth. He can eat even through his glance. So you just when the Lord put his glance on the food we offered with love and devotion, the Lord will accept the bhoga and give us the remnants to eat. So this is one of the things we should understand, that Lord can even eat through his eyes just by his loving glance. So the only thing which Lord accepts is our bhava. Lord doesn't want is our great bhoga. So bhava is more important in this context. Yeah, text number 26.
वक्षोधि वक्षोधिवासं वृषभस्य महाविभूते
Vakshodhivasam mahavibhute
पुंसां मनोनयननिर्वृतिम् आदधानम्
pumsa manonayana nibritimadhananam
कण्ठं च कौस्तुभमणेर् अधिभूषणार्थम्
kantham cha kaustubharmaner adibhushanartham
कुर्यान्मनस्यखिललोकनमस्कृतस्य
kuryan manakhasya khilalo kanamaskrityam. Translation. The yogis should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of Goddess Mahalakshmi. The Lord chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogis should then imprint on his mind the neck of the Personality of Godhead, who is adorned by the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves to enhance the beauty of the Kaustuba gem, which hangs on his chest. Yeah. So here it's very important. Here Prabhupada said that the energy is stored in the bosom of the bosom is actually the chest of the Lord. As people generally saw God is all powerful, that prowess is represented by Mahalakshmi, the reservoir of the energy, who is situated on the bosom of the transcendental form of the Lord. So yogis who can meditate perfectly on that spot of the transcendental form of the Lord can derive many powers, which comprise the eight perfection of the yoga system. Also, there is no difference between constantly visiting the temple and directly seeing the transcendental form of the Lord. They are of equal value. So we can understand that we will say that these all things Prabhupada is saying, but it's all imaginary. We should meditate on the Lord, we should meditate on the form of Lord. We can't see that. So here Prabhupada made it very clear that there is no difference between constantly visiting the temple and directly seeing the transcendental form of the Lord. They are of equal value. So Prabhupada knows that we are not of that level that we can visualize all these things in our mind. So that's why Prabhupada has given us so many beautiful things. Prabhupada has given us so many beautiful temples. Prabhupada has given us beautiful deities. So we can just decorate them, we can see them. And just by seeing deities, beautiful form of the Lord, we have seen many people becoming very nice devotees. So this is the beauty of our Acharya. Acharya knows that the people at present age are not at that level. Then Prabhupada has given us something where we can actually meditate and visualize the things with our eyes. So, and here Prabhupada said, the Lord can bestow the blessing of transcendental pleasure upon either the visitor of the temple, the meditator yogi, or one who hears about the Lord's transcendental form from scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. So, here Prabhupada is mentioning one more point, that even we visit temple, we hear Bhagavatam, we hear Bhagavad Gita, we just meditate on the Lord forms as a yogi. These all things are equal. So in bhakti, all the activities are equal. We have seen devotees, various type of devotees have different tastes. Some people like kirtan, some people like chanting, some people like hearing, some people like eating prasadam. So actually, all these activities are all the same. So, but the thing is, we should do it with a pure bhav to self-service, and then there is no difference. And but that doesn't mean we should do only one activity. I like only doing kirtan, then I will do kirtan, I will not do japa. So Prabhupada has given us a full process, and as per my taste, I can do actually extra on that. But other things also I should not neglect. For example, I don't have taste for reading, but I have taste for chanting, so I can do chanting. But as per the instructions of our Acharya, we should do a minimum amount of quota of reading also. Although the taste maybe not be there, because that is what is recommended by our present Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Text number 27.
बाहुंश्च मन्दरगिरे परिवर्तनेन
बाहुंश्च मन्दरगिरे परिवर्तनेन
निर्निक्तबाहुवलयानधिलोकपालान्
निर्निक्तबाहुबलया अधिलोकपालान्
कञ्चिन्तयेद्दशशतारमसह्यतेज
सञ्चिन्तयेदशशतारम् अशस्य तेजः
शङ्खं च तत्करस्सरोरुहराजहंसम्
शङ्खं च तत्करो Rajhamsam. Translation. The yogis should further meditate upon the Lord's forearms, which are the sources of all the powers of the devil. Then the yogis should concentrate on the polished ornaments which were burnished by Mount Mandara as it revolved. He should also duly contemplate the Lord's disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, which contains 1,000 spokes and a dazzling luster, as well as the conch, which looks like a swan in his lotus-like palm. Yeah. So here Prabhupada has given us so many various things to meditate upon. So even Lord's Sudarshan Chakra got 1,000 spokes. So we can meditate on each of them. And another point is about Mount Mandara. In the Samudra Mantha Leela, Mount Mandara was used as a churning grinder, and it was supported by Lord in the form of his Kurma avatar. So it is explained that that time the ornaments on the body of Lord got polished by the churning of Mount Mandara. So we can meditate on that. And one more point Prabhupada mentioned here, that when we decorate the Lord, so it's not like that because of the decoration, the Lord beauty increased. Even the beauty of the ornaments got increased just by being in touch with the contact with the Lord. So this is very important thing. You should understand that we cannot increase the beauty of Lord because Lord is all beautiful. Just by putting different nice clothes, nice ornaments, the beauty of that clothes and ornaments got increased because Lord is already all beautiful. So this is one very nice point we should understand. Text number 28.
कौमोदकीं भगवतो दयितां स्मरेत
कौमोदकीं भगवतो दयितां स्मरेण
दिग्धाम् अरातिभतशोणितकर्दमेन
दिग्ताम् अरातिभतशोणिता करधामनेन
मालां मधुव्रतावरूथ गिरोपकुष्ठम् गुष्टाम्
मालामधुवृता वरुता गिरोपगुष्टाम्
चैत्यस्य तत्त्वममलं मणिम् अस्य कण्ठे
तत्त्वममलं मणिमस्य कंठे. Translation. The yogi should meditate upon his club, which is named Komodiki and is very dear to him. The club snatches the demons who are always inimical soldiers and is smeared with their blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland of the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees and with their nice buzzing sound. And one should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities and who are always engaged in his service. So here Prabhupada are giving, and Prabhupada tells there are two types of living entities, one are like demonic nature and one are the pure devotees of nature. So Lord uses his club, his gada, which is named as Komodiki, to kill all the demonic quality of type of people, and he always put all his devotees in his neck, and in a form of Lord Pearl necklace. So this is there are two type of devotee, two type of living entities. One are smashed by Lord with the help of his club, and the club is always smeared with blood of that devotees, the blood of that living entities. They are demonic in nature. And also, Prabhupada mentioned that the purpose of Lord descent is one of the purpose is to protect his devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha tushritam. But the inner purpose of Lord appearance is to just give protection to his devotee and to have loving reciprocation to his devotees. That is the inner purpose of Lord descent, because just to kill the demons and all these things Lord can do through the use of his external energy. So Lord doesn't need to come personally to kill all the demonic people. Lord can do it very easily through his energies and just by his will or his icha. But to have a loving reciprocation with the devotee, Lord takes birth again and again. So there is one very nice story in this context about from Akbar and Birbal time, when Akbar Birbal were there. So Akbar, although from a Muslim background, so he doesn't know, he can't understand that why in our culture in Sanatan Dharma, Lord, we say that Lord come personally. So Akbar say, why your Lord come? Ask Birbal, why your Lord comes personally? He can do everything just by his will, now. He doesn't need to come personally. So Birbal doesn't answer that time. Birbal say, give me some time, I will answer on the right time. And then Birbal arranged a boat ride for Akbar and his family. And during that boat ride, Birbal intentionally throw the son of Akbar, who was the Basha, in the water. And Akbar actually immediately jumped and saved his son from drowning. And then when Akbar came back to the boat, and Akbar ordered his soldiers to just capture the Birbal, and Akbar asked Birbal, why you did that? Why you throw my son in the water? And Birbal asked, tell me, sir, one thing, that you are the king, and there are so many soldiers there around us who can just do anything just by your one small indication. They are ready to die for you. Why don't you order them to save your child? Why you jump himself? And Akbar told, yeah, he's my child. I want to save him. Then similarly, Birbal said that we all are children of Lord, and to save us, just to have, because Lord love us, then he comes personally. He doesn't send in somebody. He doesn't want to do things like that. So that is the reason that our Lord Krishna always comes personally and save his devotees. So this is the way Lord reciprocate. Yeah. Text number 29.
1 minute. धृत्यानुकम्पितधियेह गृहीतमूर्ते
गृहीतामूर्ते
सञ्चिन्तये भगवतो वदनारविन्दम्
संचिन्तयेद भगवतो वदनारविन्दम्
यद्विस्फुरन्मकरकुण्डलवल्गितेन
यस्विस्फुरा मकरकुण्डलवल्गीतेन
विद्योतितामलकपोलमुदारनासम्
ज्योतिमाल कपलोदारनासम्. Translation: the yogi should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, who presents his different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent, and his crystal clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillation of his glittering alligator-shaped earrings. Yeah, such a detailed description about the Lord's body part, even his earrings shapes, everything is given. This is the beauty of our Shastras. Whenever there is a discrepancy in the discharge of religious principle, and when there is prominence of religion, the Lord descends for the protection of the devotees. Yeah. Praditaranaya, Sadhuram, Vinashaya. But this is only external reason. Next, Prabhupada said that his main purpose is to give solace to his devotees. He does not have to come himself to destroy the demons. For he has many agents, even the external energy Maya has sufficient strength to kill them. But when he comes to show compassion to his devotee, he kills the non-devotee as a matter of course. So this is very important point. We should understand that Krishna want to have a loving reciprocations with the devotees, and that is his main reason to come. It's not just to kill devotees, demons. That is external reason. That is not internal reason. This is what our acharyas explain again and again throughout the scriptures. Text number 30.
यत् श्रीनिकेतमलिभिः परिसेव्यमानम्
यत् श्रीनिकेतम् अलिभिः परिसेव्यमानम्
भूत्या स्वया कुटिलकुन्तलवृन्दजुष्टम्
भुक्त्या स्वया कुटिल कुन्तलवृन्दजुष्टम्
मीनत्वयाश्रयमधिक्षिपत् अब्जनेत्रम्
द्वश्यामृतम् अधीक्षित अभ्यनेत्रम्
ध्यायेन्मनोमयम् अतन्द्रित उल्लसद्भ्रू
ध्यायेन मनोमयम् अतन्देन्द्र उल्लसधृत्यु. Translation. The yogis then meditate upon the beautiful faces of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hair and decorated by lotus-like eyes and dancing eyebrows. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by its elegance. So this is the beauty of Lord. Even lotus is put to shame. There is one word very important here. Dhyayena mano mayam in the last line, which means that manomayam means formed in the mind. Yeah, and one should meditate on. So here Prabhupada explained that Manomayam is carving of the form of Lord within the mind. This is including in one of the 8 different carvings of the form of the Lord. It is not imagination. Meditation on the actual form of Lord may be manifested in different manners, but one should not conclude that one has to imagine a form. There are 2 comparisons in this verse. First, the Lord face is compared to the lotus, then his black hair is compared to the humming bees flying around the lotus, and his 2 eyes are compared to the fish swimming around. Lotus flower on the water is very beautiful when surrounded by humming bees and fish. The Lord's face is self-sufficient and complete. His beauty defies the natural beauty of a lotus. And one more point is there. The representation can be produced by using clay, stone, wood, paint, sand, etc. So we can understand that people say, why you made, the Lord is also made, you make the deity out of this material thing only. But actually, as per scripture, it's allowed to make deities of certain material like clay, stone, wood, paint, sand. But we cannot just make deity out of any other material like plastic and thermocol. We cannot make. So, which material can be used to make deity is given, and how to make deity, everything is given, and that is a bona fide process to do the bhakti. We can make deity and we can do deity services, which is explained here. Hare Krishna.
Should we go ahead with the next shloka, Prabhuji? We'll just wait for a couple of minutes for Prabhuji to join in.
He might have lost network. Let me call him.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Mataji, my video will not work now.
Okay, no problem, Prabhuji. Should I go ahead with the next shloka, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, please.
तस्यावलोकमधिकं कृपयाति घोरा
तस्यावलोकमधिकं कृपया घोरा
तापत्रयोपशमनाय निसृष्टम् अक्ष्णो
तापत्रयोपशमनाय चित्तमक्षयो
स्निग्धस्मितानुगुणितां विपुलप्रसादम्
Snigdham, Snigdha Smitanubhalitam Vipula Prasadam.
ध्यायेच्चिरं विपुलभावनया गुहायाम्
Yaye Sachiram Vipula Bhagavanaya Guhamayam. Translation. The yogi should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes, for they soothe the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. His glances, accompanied by loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. Yeah, here purport. As long as one is in conditioned life in the material body, it is natural that he will suffer from anxieties and agonies. One cannot avoid the influence of material nature, even when one is on the transcendental plane. Sometimes disturbances come, but the agonies and anxieties of the devotees are at once mitigated when they think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his beautiful form or the smiling face of the Lord. The Lord bestows innumerable favors upon his devotees, and the greatest manifestation of his grace is his smiling face, which is full of compassion for his pure devotees. So very beautifully Prabhupada described that as long as we are in material world, we cannot avoid disturbances, we cannot avoid agonies, but the only solace is just to be fully concentration on the form of the Lord. And we have seen very nicely in our present day also that people who are engaged in devotion service, even we are also, when we are engaged in devotional service, then this threefold miseries doesn't affect us much. Then we are happily serving the Lord, then these threefold miseries of this material world doesn't affect us much. But when we are not into the devotional service activities, then these threefold miseries accept us a lot. So as a grasta, I feel personally it's very blissful when we have deities in our home and we are engaged in their service. We have Bhagavatam in our home when we are engaged in our service, and we have very nice devotee sangha where we are connected and we are serving constantly. We have learned this thing very nicely from, I have learned very nicely this thing from the example of Lilananda Prabhuji and Radha Mataji. I see them, they are totally engaged themselves in so much services that there is no time to think about anything out of the service. Then you are wake up in the morning, you have class, then you have chanting, then you have Bhagavatam, then you have deities, then you have this program, that program, here service, that service. You have to make Jagannath, we have to make Rath for Jagannath, we have to decorate, we have to do this festival, that festival, you have to call everybody, you have to meet with everybody, we have to meet. So devotees are fully engaged. And when devotees are fully engaged in this sort of activities, then life is very blissfully going on devotional service. And the human being, the soul is not affected by this threefold miseries much, and there is no time to think of that. There is no time to think of anything else other than the services. And this is very nice way of living given by our acharyas to us, and we are very thankful to our present gurus, shiksha gurus, that they are guiding us in very nice way to just engage ourselves in full-time services. Then these all miseries will not affect us. Yes, text number 32.
हासं हरेरवनताखिललोकतीव्र
हासं हरेरवना किलोक तीव्रा
शोकाश्रुसागरविशोषणम् अत्युदारम्
शोकाश्रुसागरविशोनम् अत्युत्तारम्
सम्मोहनाय रचितं निजमाययास्य
सम्मोहनाय रचितं निजमायया च
भ्रूमण्डलं मुनिकृते मकरध्वजस्य
भ्रूमण्डलं मुनिकृते मकरं द्विजस्य. Translation. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari, a smile which, for all those who bow to him, dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his internal potency in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. Yeah. It is stated in this verse that the charming eyebrows of the Lord are so fascinating that they cause one to forget the charms of sense attraction. The conditioned souls are shackled to material existence because they are captivated by the charms of sense gratification, especially sex life. The sex god is called Maksha Tucha. So this is how very nicely it's explained that, like anybody who reads Bhagavatam 10th canto about the pastimes of Lord along with the gopis, his Ras Leela and all. So actually, it's explained that when we go read in a proper consciousness, and Prabhupada explained that proper consciousness, when you start from Canto 1 and finish 9 Canto, and then you enter 10th Canto, and then you read it, then actually it will not increase our sex desire and all this lust and all, but actually it will reduce. So these are the beauty of pastimes of Lord, that although it externally appears like these are pastimes of a common boyfriend and girlfriend, but actually if we read, if we listen in proper consciousness, it will actually reduce our lusty desires, and it will bring us to a high level of transcendental level, because these pastimes of Lord are not on the material level. We should not compare with any material level pastimes or the relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend, and these are on a transcendental platform, and it will actually decrease the lusty desires. And we can see that from the example of Lord Chaitanya also, he approved this, although he's a great Sikh sannyasi who actually never wants to come near to any woman because he follows sannyas ashram that time, but still he approves when his Krista devotees come with the news of having a child and all, so he actually approved. Very nice, it's very nice thing. So this is how we should understand that Lord's pastimes are always on the transcendental level. Yes, text number 33.
ध्यानायनं प्रहसितं बहुलाधरोष्ठ
ध्यानायनं प्रहसितं बहुलाधरोष्ठ
भासारुणायिततनु द्विजकुन्दपङ्क्ति
भासारुणायिततनु द्विजकुन्द पंक्ति
ध्यायेत् स्वदेहकुहरे वसितस्य विष्णोर्
ध्यायेत स्वधे कुहरे वसितस्य विष्णो
भक्त्यार्द्रयार्पितमना न पृथक् दिदृक्षेत्
भक्त्या भक्त्यार्पितमनः न पृथक् विदिष्टे. Translation. With devotion, steeped in love and affection, the yogi should meditate within the core of his heart upon the laughter of Lord Vishnu. The laughter of Vishnu is so captivated that it can be easily meditated upon. When the Supreme Lord is laughing, one can see his small teeth, which resembles jasmine buds rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. Once devoting his mind to this, the yogi should no longer desire to see anything else. Yeah, so what I remember just by reading this verse is every day our Prabhuji send us a beautiful picture of Radha Ramanji. And many times Radha Ramanji blissfully shows his teeth, small teeth, and many times he just hide them. So this is very nice thing that we should see, that this is how the Lord is described, that he got very nice, beautiful teeth. So we don't need to speculate. We can have, because of mercy of our acharyas, our Siddh Goswamis, we got so many nice deities. We can just meditate on them, and we can just make our life successful just by seeing. Just by seeing, can you imagine? Just go to temple and see the beautiful deity, and just have concentration, and our life will become perfectly. So what could be more easy than that? So this is very nice way which our Prabhupada has given us. We just have to chant Hare Krishna and see the deities and serve the deities and make our lives very much peaceful. Text number 34.
एवं हरौ भगवती प्रतिलब्धभावो
एवं हरो भगवती प्रतिलब्ध भावो
भक्त्या द्रवदृढया उत्पुलकः प्रमोदात्
भक्त्या द्रवहृदया उत्पुलकः प्रमोदात्
औत्कण्ठ्यबाष्पकलया मुहुरर्ध्यमानस्
उत्कण्ठ्य बाष्पकलया मुहुरा अर्थामास्
तच्चापि चित्तबदिशं शनकैर्वियुङ्क्ते
तच्चापि तचित् बदिष्मं संख्या वियुक्ते. Translation. By following this course, the yogi gradually develops pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari. In the course of his progress in devotional service, the hairs of his body stand erect through excessive joy, and he is constantly bathed in the stream of tears occasioned by intense love. Gradually, even the mind, which he used as a means to attract the Lord, as one attracts a fish to the hook, withdraws from material activity. Purport. Here it is clearly mentioned that meditation, which is an action of the mind, is not perfect stage of samadhi or absorption. In the beginning, the mind is employed to in attraction the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in higher stages, there is no question of using the mind. A devotee becomes accustomed to serving the Supreme Lord by purifying in his senses. In other words, the yoga principles of meditation are required as long as one is not situated in pure devotional service. Yeah, there is one very nice pastime. There is one devotee who went to his guru, and he was actually practicing Nam Japa for almost like 18-20 years. Then he went to his guru and he told that, Maharaj, I am doing Nam Jap as instructed by you for last 18-20 years, but I didn't see that what I achieved. I didn't see anything I achieved for last 20 years. Please tell me what I have achieved. I could not understand that. So Maharaj told, yeah, you don't understand, that's okay. You just follow one my instruction and then you will understand. So what is your instruction? For from now till next 24 hours, you don't take any Nam Jap. You don't chant, don't take any Nam Jap, and then you come and meet me after one day. After 24 hours, you come and meet me and share your experience. And when you don't do any Nam Jap now for 24 hours, how you experience? Then the Shishya told, okay, okay, I'll follow your instruction. And then he was about to leave and just going out. Immediately he came back. He came back and fell on the feet of his guru and started crying. And he told that, Maharaj, and now actually I don't find it's possible not to chant. So Maharaj told, yeah, this is what you achieve. Now you are natural. Now japa is very much natural because you are doing it for last 18-20 years. Now it's very much natural part of your life. So this is what you have achieved, that now you cannot live without holy name. So the holy name is like that powerful. Once we start chanting, initially we have to struggle, but then but that's what Prabhupada mentioned in this purport. That it's the devotee become accustomed to serving the Supreme Lord by purifying in his senses. So this will become very natural. Now just imagine now who are there in part of this satsang for many years, who are sincerely practicing, and suddenly you told them from tomorrow onward you don't have to get up early, you don't have to chant, you don't have to read. Then what we'll do? We can't live like without that now. It's very difficult. So this is what it's stated here, that Krishna consciousness is such a blissful process. It becomes very natural part of our life, and we cannot live without that now. So this stage is called perfection in Krishna. Last line Prabhupada. Meditation recommended in the lower stages is means to come to the platform of devotional service. Those already engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord are above such meditation. This stage is called perfection. Is this stage of perfection is Krishna consciousness. So we all can experience this nice very easily. Those who are sincerely practicing for many years, we can very easily experience this. Text number 35.
मुक्ताश्रयं यर्हि निर्विषयं विरक्तम्
मुक्ताश्रयं यहि निर्विषयं विरक्तम्
निर्वाणमृच्छति मनः सहसा यथार्ची
निर्वाणमिच्छति मनः सहसा यथार्ची
आत्मानमत्र पुरुषो व्यवधानमेकम्
आत्मानमत्र पुरुषो व्यवधानकेमेकम्
अन्वीक्षते प्रतिनिवृत्तगुणप्रवाह
अन्वीक्ष्य प्रतिनिवृत्तगुणः प्रभावः. Translation. When the mind is thus completely freed from all material contamination and detached from material objectives, it is just like the flame of the lamp. At that time, the mind is actually dovetailed with that of the Supreme Lord and is experienced as one of his with him, because it is freed from the interactive flow of material qualities. Yeah. So Nirvana, the dovetailing of mind with the desires of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Nirvana, or making the mind one with the Supreme Lord. So here Prabhupada explained that mind should be in sync with the desires of the Lord. So best example of Nirvana is cited in Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, the mind of Arjuna deviated from Krishna. Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight, but Arjuna did not want to. So there was disagreement. But after hearing Bhagavad Gita from Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna dovetailed his mind with Krishna's desire. This is called oneness. This oneness, however, did not cause Arjuna and Krishna to lose their individualities. The Mayavadi philosopher cannot understand this. They think that oneness necessitates along loss of individuality. Actually, however, we find in Bhagavad Gita that individuality is not lost. When the mind is completely purified in love of Godhead, the mind becomes the mind of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The mind at that time does not act separately, nor does it act without inspiration to fulfill the desires of the Lord. The individual liberated soul has no other activities. So this is very important in Nirvana. In our case, we do not have access to Krishna directly, so we will have to dovetail our mind as per the desires of our gurus. So whatever desire of guru, we just have to fulfill that, and that's the perfection of our life. And second word is here, yat achrit. Achrit means flame. When the lamp is broken or the oil is finished, we see that the flame of lamp goes out. But according to scientific understanding, the flame is not extinguished. It is conserved. So this is here Prabhupada explaining the laws of conservation of energy, that energy is neither destroyed, it just changes from one form to another. So similarly, the desires of our mind is never finished. We just have to dovetail our desire from material level to transcendental level in loving service of Krishna. This is how very nicely Prabhupada explained this in a scientific way. Those who are from science background, they can understand that how it's very laws of conservation of energy in thermodynamics. It's explained by Prabhupada that desires are never ended. The desires can only be transformed from material level to spiritual level in loving service of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Text number 36.
सोऽप्येतया चरमया मनसो निवृत्त्या
सोऽप्या एतया चर्मया मनसो निवृत्त्या
तस्मिन् मह्य अवसिता सुखदुःखबाह्ये
तस्मिन् महिम्न्या अवस्थित्या सुखदुःखभावे
हेतुत्वमप्यसति कर्तरि दुःखयोर्यत्
हेतुम् अप्य असि कर्तरि दुःखयो यत्
स्वात्मन् विधत्त उपलब्धपरात्मकास्था
आत्मन विधत्त उपलब्ध paratmakaष्ठा. Translation: thus situated in the highest transcendental stage, the mind ceases from all material reactions and becomes situated in its own glory, transcendental to all material conceptions of happiness and distress. At that time, the yogis realizes the truth of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He discovers that pleasures and pains, as well as their interactions, which he attributed to his own self, are actually due to the false ego, which is a product of ignorance. Yeah. So Prabhupada explained that forgetfulness of one's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a product of ignorance. By yoga practice, one can eradicate this ignorance of thinking oneself independent of the Supreme Lord. One's actual relationship is eternally that of love. So this is very important, that we are all in the forgetful state of that our true nature as a spirit soul, and our true activity as loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So once we come to that level, that consciousness, then we come in a very nice level of actually loving devotional services. Nivritya means that living entity keeps his individuality. Oneness means that he realizes happiness in the happiness of the Supreme Lord. In the Supreme Lord, there is nothing but happiness. Anandamaya Bhayat. The Lord is by nature full of transcendental happiness. In the liberated stage, oneness with the Supreme Lord means that one has no realization that other than happiness, but the individual still exists. Otherwise, this word upalabdhya indicates individual realization of transcendental happiness could not have been used. Right. So this is very important. Prabhupada again and again in all the purport, Prabhupada refute the Mayavadi philosophy that we will never merge in Lord or will never become one with Lord. We will always remain individual living entity, and Lord will always remain Lord. Lord is always supreme. We are the servant of Lord, and the relationship between individual and the Lord is of the loving devotion service. This is very important, and wherever we find any philosophy which doesn't match with this, and people say that we become one with Lord, we merge in the Lord, we become one with the Lord, and all that things are the Mayavad philosophy. And Prabhupada very clearly explain all these things so that the people who follow Krishna consciousness should actually protect themselves from all this Mayavadi philosophy. Hare Krishna. Text number 37.
देहं च तं न चरमस्थितमुत्थितं वा
Deham chatanna charmaha sthitam uttitam va
सिद्धो विपश्यति यतो ध्यगमत्स्वरूपम्
Siddho vipashyati yato vaimat swarupam.
दैवादुपेतमथ दैववशादपेतम्
Devadupetam atha devavashadapetam.
वासो यथा परिकृतं मदिरामदान्ध
Vaso yatha parikritam madira madanta. Because he has achieved his real identity, the perfectly realized soul has no conception of how the material body is moving or acting, just as an intoxicated person cannot understand whether or not he has clothing on his body. So here, text number 37. Yes. So Prabhupada explained that this stage of life is explained by Rup Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. A person whose mind is completely dovetailed with the desires of Supreme Personality Godhead and who engages 100% in the service of Lord forgets his material bodily demands. So we can see from the life of Prabhupada that Prabhupada was always on that transcendental level. He was never on this material level. Even now we can see our great Acharya like Jayapadaka Swami. We can't imagine a person to be such active with such a physical level. He's so have so much problem, but he is not on the physical level. He's always on a transcendental level, and he is doing his service everywhere. He's traveling, he's preaching, he's active everywhere. So this is what is the perfectly stage. Those who are not very pure level, they are above the body level, and they can do all the things on the transcendental level. Text number 38.
देहोऽपि दैववशगः खलु कर्म यावत्
देहोऽपि देववशका खलु कर्म यावत्
स्वारम्भकं प्रति समीक्षत एव शासु
स्वारम्भकं प्रतिसमीक्ष एव सासु
तं सप्रपञ्चमधिरूढसमाधियोग
सा प्रपञ्चम् अधिरूढ समाधियोगा
स्वाप्नं पुनर्न भजते प्रतिबुद्धवस्तु
स्वाप्नं पुनर्न भजते प्रतिभूतवास्तु. Translation. The body of such a liberated yogi, along with the senses, is taken charge of by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it functions until its destined activities are finished. The liberated devotee, being awake to his constitutional position and thus situated in samadhi, the highest perfectional stage of yoga, does not accept the byproducts of the material body as his own. Thus, he considers his bodily activities to be like the activities of the body in a dream. Yeah. So here Prabhupada explained that the movement is not due to yes, the example of a fan. When the fan stop, when the switch of the fan is off, the fan is still moving. But that is not because of electricity, but because they already moving, so that tendency is there to move. Similarly, the liberated soul appears to be act just like an ordinary man. His actions are to be accepted on as a continuation of past activities. In the dream, one may see himself expanded through many bodies, but when awake, he can understand that those bodies were all false. Similarly, although a liberated soul does the byproducts of the body, children, wife, house, etc., he does not identify himself with these bodily expansions. So sometimes we see a devotee, a very high level, but that he is also like a normal man. He is a wife, children, but we should understand that he is on a transcendental level, and these are just like the continuation from his past activity. Like a fan, when switches off, it's not moving from electricity; it's just moving of its own because that is a continuation of its past activity. And soon that fan will stop, and soon the person on transcendental level will surpass all these material things, and he will situate himself in fully transcendental level. Yes. Text number 39.
यथा पुत्राच्च वित्ताच्च
यथा पुत्रा च वित्ताश्च
पृथन्मर्त्य प्रतीयते
पृथन्मर्त्या प्रतीयते
अप्यात्मत्वेनाभिमताद्
अप्यात्मत्वेन भीमतात्
देहादेह पुरुषस्तथा
देहादेह पुरुषस्तथा. Translation. Because of great affection for family and wealth, one accepts a son and some money as his own. And due to affection for the material body, one thinks that it is his. But actually, as one can understand that his family and wealth are different from him, the liberated soul can understand that he and his body are not the same. Yeah. So the stage of real knowledge is explained in these words. There are many children, but we accept some children as our sons and daughters because of our affection for them. Although we know that very well that these children are different from us. Similarly, because of great affection for money, we accept some amount of wealth in the bank as ours. In the same way, we claim that the body is ours because of affection for it. I say that it is my body. I then extended that positive possessive concept and say it is my hand, my leg, and further. It is my bank balance, my son, my daughter. But actually, I know that the sun, the money are separate from me. It is the same with the body. I am separate from my body. It is a question of understanding. And the proper understanding is called Pratibudha. By obtaining knowledge in devotion service or Krishna consciousness, one can become a liberated soul. Hare Krishna. So it's very easy. You can understand from Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 that I am different from body and whatever possessions I have are just temporary. So we have to accept everything in service of Krishna. And when we use everything in service of Krishna, which is given to us by Krishna, that is the perfection of our life. Text number 40.
यथोल्मुखाद् विस्फुलिङ्गाद्
Yathol mukad vipudingad
धूमाद्वापि स्वसम्भवात्
धूमात् पापी स्वसंभवात्
अप्यात्मत्वेनाभिमताद्
apyat atmena bhimatad
यथाग्नि पृथग् उल्मुकात्
yathagni puthak ulmukad. Translation: the blazing fire is different from the flames, from the sparks, and from the smoke, although all are intimately connected because they are born from the same blazing wood. So, purport: although the blazing firewood, the sparks, the smoke, and the flames cannot stay apart because each of them is part and parcel of the fire, still they are different from one another. A less intelligent person accepts the smoke as fire, although fire and smoke are completely different. The heat and light of the fire are separate, although one cannot differentiate fire from the heat and light. Actually, these verses from text 39 to 44 are the labeled as understanding of the yogis. So these are the different level of understandings of the yogis about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text number 41.
भूतेन्द्रियान्तःकरणात्
Bhutendriyantah karanad
प्रधानात् जीवसंज्ञिनात्
prathalabdha jiva samyajat
आत्मा तथा पृथक् दृष्टा
atma tatha prithak drishtva
भगवान् ब्रह्म संहिता.
Bhagavan Brahma Sangita. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Param Brahma, is the seer. He is different from the Jiva soul or individual living entity, who is combined with the senses, the five elements, and the consciousness. Purport: so Lord Chaitanya describes the philosophy as Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So we are simultaneously one with the Supreme Lord and simultaneously different with the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada explained that how we are similar in the form of qualities, because Lord has certain qualities, we also have the same quality, but the difference is of the quantity. So like a drop in the ocean is equal as per chemical composition and all with the whole ocean, but a drop cannot do anything much. Just put the drop on anywhere, it will just evaporate. But the ocean can do a great thing. It can even bring tsunami and it can do big things. So this is like a jiva. We are like a jiva. We are anu, and Lord is like a vibhu. But ultimately, quality wise, we are the same. So this is the philosophy of Lord given by Lord Chaitanya as Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva. So the core principles of Vaishnava philosophy doctrine are Shuddha Advaita, Dvaita, Advaita, Vishisht Advaita, and Dvaita. So all the different Vaishnava acharyas who came at different time actually propagate this philosophy, and finally Lord Chaitanya propagate Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva, which is what explained. And here Lord Kapila, the simultaneous one and different philosophy is the perfection conclusion of Bhagavata school as confirmed here by Kapila Dev. So here Kapila Dev also confirms the philosophy of simultaneously one and different as propagated by Lord Chaitanya in this Kapila instruction to devotion service. Yeah. Text number 42. So
सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं
सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं
सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि
सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि
ईक्षेतानन्यभावेन
विक्षेतानेभावेन
भूतेष्विव तद् आत्मताम्।
भूतेष्विव आत्मना. Translation: A yogi should see the same soul in all manifestations, for all that exists in a manifestation of different energies of the Supreme. In this way, the devotee should see all living entities without distinction. That is realization of the Supreme Soul. Yeah, same thing is given in chapter 2, that a devotee sees a dog eater and a sadhu, a devotee, everything on a equal level. So that's what explained here. A person who is freed from material designations. Yeah, here Prabhupada has given different type of species, how different type of species took birth. First, the sprout from the earth. Second, living entities are fermentation or germination. Living entities which came from eggs, and the living entities come from the embryos. So these are the species. And person who is freed from material designations can see the same quality of spirit present everywhere in every manifestation. So this is a level of a pure yogi who sees same spirit soul in all the same living entity, or irrespective of the species the living entity has accepted. Text number 43.
स्वयोनिषु यथा ज्योतिर्
स्वयोनिषु यथा ज्योतिर
एकं नाना प्रतीयते
एकं नाना प्रतीयते
योनीनां गुणवैषम्यात्
योनीनां गुणवैषम्यात्
तथात्मा प्रकृतौ स्थितः।
तथात्मा प्रकृतौ स्थितः. As fire is exhibited in different forms of wood, so under different conditions of the modes of material nature, the pure spirit soul manifests itself into different bodies. So it is to be understood that the body is designated. Prakriti is an interaction by the three modes of material nature, and according to these modes, sometimes someone has a small body, someone has a very large body. For example, a fire in a piece of wood appears very big, and in a stick, the fire appears small. Actually, the quality of fire is the same everywhere, but the manifestation of material nature is such that according to the fuel, the fire appears bigger and smaller. Similarly, the soul in the universal body, although of the same quality, in different form of the souls in the smaller bodies. The small particle of soul are just as a little spark of the larger soul. The greatest soul is the super soul, but the super soul is qualitatively different from the small soul. Here we should understand that Prabhupada has taken the example of big fire and small fire, but the point is that these fire are not mixing. Individuality is always remain. So soul is not mixing in the supreme soul at any time, and soul will remain soul individual, and the super soul will remain soul super soul individual. And super soul is, although Krishna is capable to produce innumerable souls, but all are remain individual. So this is one big point that we should understand, that we can take this example, but we should not think that we are merging the water in the ocean. Water will become ocean. And ocean can accept any number of water and still remain ocean. Yeah, Krishna is unlimited, but we as a soul will always remain as an individual soul, and the relation between super soul and soul is of the loving devotion service. Yeah. Text number 44.
तस्मादिमां स्वां प्रकृतिं
Tasmat imam swam prakatim
दैवीं सद् असद् आत्मिकां
devim sat asat atmikam
दुर्विभाव्यां पराभाव्या
durvibhavyam parabhavya
स्वरूपेणावतिष्ठते।
Sarupena Vatishtate. Thus, the yogi can be in the self-realized position after conquering the insurmountable spell of Maya, who presents herself as both the cause and effect of this material manifestation, and is therefore very difficult to understand. Yeah. Maya Duratya. So, here Prabhupada explains that in it is stated in Bhagavad Gita that the spell of Maya, which covers the knowledge of living entity, is insurmountable, very difficult to understand. However, one who surrenders unto Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can conquer this seemingly insurmountable spell of Maya. Here also it is stated that the Devi Prakriti, or the external energy of Supreme Lord, is Du Vibhavya, very difficult to understand and very difficult to conquer. One must, however, conquer this insurmountable spell of Maya, and this is possible by the grace of Lord. When God reveals himself to the surrendered soul, it is also stated here, Swarupena Sishchate. Swarupa means that one who has to know that he is not the supreme soul, but rather part and parcel of the supreme soul. That is self-realization. And further, Prabhupada explained that as long as one is not self-reliant, he engages in activities based on false identification with the body. When one is situated in his real self, then the activities of Brahma realization begins. So we can understand that the people who are working in corporates, if they go to office and they do not understand their role and responsibility, what they will do there? They don't know what to do. So it's very important when we go somewhere, we should understand who we are, what is our role and responsibility, and we should act accordingly. Then only we are useful. And similarly, when we are in society and now we don't know our actual role and responsibility, then we are a burden for the society. So we all must come to our actual consciousness, and we should understand that who are we, what is our real identity as a spirit soul, as a servant of Lord Krishna, and what are our responsibility to render devotion service unto the Lord Krishna. And if we are not understanding that, then we are actually bewildered in this material world, and we are bewildered under the spell of Krishna's Maya. But it is stated that Krishna Suresam Maya hai andhkar, jahan Krishna tahan nahi Maya re adhikar. So Krishna's Maya, although very difficult to overcome, can be very easily overcome just by taking shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. So that is a conclusion of this chapter. Text number 28, Canto 3, Kapila's instruction on devotional service. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the third canto, 28th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Kapila's instruction on the execution of devotional service. So with this, I want to conclude my session. I want to seek forgiveness and blessings all the devotees if I speak anything wrong, and all, if you want to add any comments or improve me, please go ahead now. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for wonderful examples, Prabhuji.
Thank
Made
you,
it
Mataji,
easier
for
to
reading.
understand.
I don't know how to recite shloka, but I understand that every day you are reciting every morning. That is very helpful now. So I will
Yeah,
try to.
Prabhuji, even I didn't know anything, but because of the recitation, I just wanted to be of some service today.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve you.
Hare Krishna. Lovesh Prabhu, Nandat Pranam. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Class today. You gave so many examples. Prabhupada, Acharya, in many areas.
I don't know anything. I just speak. Today, for this class, I do not get time to prepare nicely. So I just try to read from purport and speak whatever comes inside.
Prabhuji, sincere devotees tolerate it. It comes automatically. Thank you. Thank you very much. Deepa Mataji also for reciting the nice.
So we all should take example of Deepa Mataji, and we should try to attend everyday morning class by our Giriraj Prabhuji and Lalit Mohan Prabhuji. They are reciting every day nicely. Sometimes I join them, but most of the time I skip the class.
Yes, Prabhuji, we should. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. And that's
Thank you,
And
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, the way you are reciting the sloka is wonderful, Mataji. Thank you very much.
All glories to Lalit Mohan Prabhuji. His training.
Worth to have a few sessions from you, Mataji, to learn how to pronounce these slokas, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Pancha Kaltar Vishnu Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patita Nam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnave Anant Kodi Vaishnavinda Ki
right. Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for a wonderful class.
Hare Krishna.